All right, everyone. So I want to talk about another boxer that's coming out of retirement. Or I don't know if he ever officially retired. Let's just say coming back, returning to the ring. You got it. Errol the Truth Spence. Errol Spence Jr. is coming back apparently to fight Tim Tszyu, who is a former champion at 154 pounds. It's a lot of things I feel about this. I'm glad to see Errol back. I was a big Errol Spence fan. I'll admit, I thought he was going to get the best of Terrence Crawford when they fought, and I was extremely wrong, obviously. My thing is, I don't have a problem with the fact that Errol's been away for so long. If he didn't want to box anymore ever again, fine. You know, these guys are in the hurt business. It is an extremely competitive but also dangerous profession to be in. And if at any point in time, any of these professionals decide, I've had enough, I'm going to go ahead and move on, focus on family, my health, myself, I get it. And Earl seemed to be kind of doing that. And after the way he took that beating from Bud, because it was a severe loss, very uncharacteristic. But as I said then, some people tried to downplay the win for Crawford by saying Earl wasn't quite himself. Something was off. Maybe he was high, something. I've heard all sorts of things. And I'm not saying I didn't have certain questions go through my head. But what I know about Earl is leading up to that fight, even with things that you could try to make up excuses for, whether it was the accidents that he was in, his injuries that he had suffered. Whenever he stepped in the ring before Bud, he looked like the big fish, as he would say, the truth. And he was a guy that didn't back down from nobody, took big fights, no tune-ups, as he would say, and he beat some quality fighters, has a quality resume still. Only blemish is the Crawford one, and it was a big one. Big loss because of the fashion in which he lost, but it's still one loss to a guy who many considered when he retired the best in the business pound for pound. Crawford stepped up, did what he was supposed to do. Really, to what I saw, he rose to the occasion more than Errol Spence. He respected Earl, came prepared, played no games, and Bud got Earl up out of there. What shocked me was what I thought I knew about Earl, that he wasn't the type of guy that was going to just never be seen from for as long as we haven't seen him after the loss. But that goes to show you in professional boxing how a loss can maybe affect somebody. Now, I don't know what personal things he may have been going through, but to me, the fact that he was away for so long, I was thinking it had something to do with Crawford, of how that loss may have affected him. Because he, I'm sure, was confident going in thinking he was going to do what he needed to do. Like he said, he going to need a bigger boat, a bigger net or whatever to catch the big fish. And he sure enough bought that net. So him being shocked, I thought that it might have hit Earl mentally unlike he had ever been hit before. And because of it, he didn't come back to boxing. Might have not been confident in himself, not knowing if he could get in the ring and do it again the same way. Who knows? And maybe there was some residual damage from the fight that he just needed to heal. Or his goal was to be undisputed at welterweight. It didn't happen. Maybe he was just done after that because, you know, he'd have to do it all over again. Maybe he didn't want to have to go through all that again, winning each belt at welterweight, because Bud obviously was moving on to 154. I find it interesting, though, that when he comes back, Bud is retired. Now, I don't know. I don't have any inside information that tells me he was waiting for Bud to retire before he came back. I just find it interesting that once Bud is definitely done, then he comes back, because a lot of people might have wanted to see would he challenge Bud again to a rematch. Not that he had to, because we saw what we saw, and most people might say, I don't need to see that fight again. But there would have been some outcries, even if he had come back and took a couple tune-ups, that at some point, if Crawford is still in the business, are you going to try to get your get back just because of the guy we knew Earl to be or know him to be? But Tim Tszyu shows, like him wanting to fight a guy like that shows he don't do tune-up still. He coming right back to a guy that's a quality fighter. This isn't a tune-up. This is a tough matchup. And so I commend Errol for that. I'm looking forward to the fight. I want to see what he's got. And for me, being an Errol fan, I'm hoping that he gets a few fights in where he can build his confidence up, maybe even gets a shot to become world champion again. And then if he wants to retire, he retires. But I just would like to see him go out on a more positive note. Even if he loses another fight, just not the way it was looking like it was ending with that beatdown from Crawford. So I hope Errol, I'm wishing him the best. Definitely going to watch the fight. I think at 154, he should be more comfortable. We know it was costing him a lot to make 147. I think he could fight at 154 and 160. So hopefully he comes back and is a little more active, not fighting the one fight every year or every 2 years, but get back in it and maybe fight this summer, get back in December, again in the summer, like twice a year type stuff where he can get a rhythm, is barring injuries and, safety, obviously. What y'all think about Errol coming back? Do y'all want to see him fight? And do you think he can come back after so much time off and beat a Tim Tszyu? Do you want to still see him fight Keith Thurman? These are questions. Let me know what y'all think. All right, that's all the time I got. Y'all know what it is, and you know who you looking for. J Heat Sports Media. And I'm coming at y'all with that fire as always. It's time to subscribe, and y'all know where to find me. YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok.